Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of like a review, swatch, first impressions, and then I might throw in a little mini tutorial at the end. But it is going to be the Pat McGrath Labs Metalmorphasis 005 Everything. So I got the one that has all of the colors in it. I'm super excited about this because I am someone who loves sparkle and shine. I love to make a statement with my makeup. So for me, when I saw this, I had to have it regardless of YouTube. I needed it in my life. So I really just wanted to swatch it for you guys. And I will put in the description box below where I will be doing the swatches and then the review and then also the mini tutorial. I'll put all that in the description box below if there's specific things you just want to see. So I'm not going to ramble too much. Let's just get right into this. Now, I bought the highlighter versions of this back when Pat McGrath first came out with them, and I made the mistake of opening them not over a box. Don't do that. Bad idea. You will regret it. So I just have the Sephora box that it came in, and I'm just going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm going to slice this bad boy open. Okay, I'm just going to dump that into the box. Now the thing I love about her packaging is it's very unique, the way that the package actually comes. Now this is not unique in and of itself, but the way she puts this stuff in it and puts all of the, pieces just kind of smashed in there and then uses the sequences like more of like a bubble wrap type of thing to protect the product is really genius to me because it's gorgeous to look at. So I'm just going to go in and pick out everything one by one and just show you what comes in the everything kit. So then the first product I just picked up is the MariaBmakeup Mixing Liquid. Now this is a very small bottle. It has 0.5 fluid ounces. MariaBmakeup is its own company and is not made by Pat McGrath. So this is something that I believe you can actually find it on Amazon in a bigger bottle. So if you run out of this, you don't need to run and buy a whole nother kit. You can actually get this online. It's a plastic bottle, and the one thing I will say about her packaging is it is not made to look fancy. She makes her stuff for makeup artists. She makes it so that it can go in your kit and be tossed around, and it's more functional as opposed to pretty. And for me personally, being a makeup artist, I really appreciate that because there are certain things that are beautiful, but then you ruin the packaging on the outside, or you ruin the actual product because the packaging is not sturdy enough. It's not what you need. So I actually like the fact that it's more of a durable packaging as opposed to this pretty glittery. I mean, we all love glitter, but I just appreciate the fact that she put that into it. So the next thing that I pulled out is this, and it is the Pat McGrath Labs Black Dual-Ended Marker. One side says bold and then the other side says precise. So this is the bold side. As you can see, it's much thicker, but it does come to a very fine point. And then the precise side is just your typical, felt tip liner. It's just a little thicker at the base, and then obviously it gets very thin and precise at the end. Now the next thing that comes in the package are the pigments, and I'm not going to swatch them yet for you, but there is the silver, this one is the copper, this one is the bronze, and then you have the gold. And they are in plastic packaging. Like I said, it's nothing fancy, it's not made to be pretty. And I'm sorry, but this is gorgeous enough. You do not need any fancy packaging around it. But it's plastic. It's nothing crazy. It's got the sticker on the back. And so these are the pressed pigments. This is what the cream looks like. I'm going to show you the comparison between the creams and the powder. Now that is everything that comes in the everything package. Now that does retail for, I believe, $165, and you are getting a lot of product. So to me, it's not a crazy price, but I do want to touch on the packaging once again. Now the pigments come in the same packaging as the highlighters. Now this is the gold highlighter. It's the same packaging. They have the exact same weight in them, and they are both domed. The product itself is domed, just like the highlighters, and the cream shadow also has the same weight as the pigment. So you are getting 0.4 grams in each one. Now I'm going to go in and swatch everything for you. I'm going to do color by color, and I'm going to start with a cream swatch, then I'm going to do a pigment swatch, then I'm going to do the cream and pigment on top of each other, and then I am going to do a swatch of the mixing medium with the pressed pigment. I'm going to start with the gold, and this is the cream shadow. Now these are extremely soft, very buttery. So this is the cream by itself. And then I'm going to leave space for the pigment one, and I'm going to put cream again because we're going to put pigment on top of it. And this is the gold pigment. Now this feels a little on the gritty side, but I think that's just because it's so intense. I mean, my finger alone is crazy. You can hear my son. Sorry about that. He's in the next room watching cartoons. So then I'm going to put the pigment in between. Holy crap. So that's the pigment by itself. And then I'm going to take the pigment and I'm going to pat it on top of the cream base. Wow, that's really beautiful. This is the gold with the mixing medium. So these are the 4 different ways you can mix the products, and to me they are all stunning. Now the cream alone is more of a subtle version of the rest, but they are all so beautiful, and the sparkle that is in the pigment is just gorgeous. Now me personally, my favorite out of these swatches would be the pigment by itself. I just feel that the sparkle really shows up the best with the pigment by itself. So now this is the silver cream base. Then taking the silver again a little lower, because we're going to add the pigment on top of it again. The silver is beautiful. I mean, that looks like pure liquid metal on my hand. That is freaking stunning. I like this cream by itself better than the gold. Now this is the pigment by itself. Wow, these things are freaking crazy. And then the pigment, I'm going to tap it on top of the cream base. Now in person, the silver is way more sheer than the gold. I can see my skin through the actual pigment. It does have the same amount of sparkle as the gold does, but I would say that the pigment by itself is just a little sheerer, or on the sheer side. Now how I am mixing the mixing medium and the pigment is I'm just taking a metal spatula and the pigment, and I'm just scraping right around the edge onto a clean surface, and then I am dipping my brush in the mixing medium and then rubbing it around in the pigment to get that liquefied effect. There we go. And this is the pigment and the liquid mixing medium mixed together. Now again, they're all freaking gorgeous. I mean, every single one of the swatches is beautiful, but I will say out of these, I kind of like the cream base or the mixing medium the best out of these swatches. Now for the copper and bronze, I'm going to be doing them on the same hand, and I'm just going to do one on one side and one on the other, because I really want you guys to be able to see the difference in the color, because looking at them in the pans, I'm not going to lie to you guys, they look almost identical, and I want to see if there's actually a difference in them. So I'm going to take the bronze over on this side, and this is the bronze cream, and then do one step below. So this is the bronze cream. I mean, it's a stunning color. It's more on the golden side. I feel like the copper is going to be a little bit more on the orangey red side, but let's take a look at that. Okay, so on camera, I'm not going to lie, they look the they look exactly the same. If I'm looking in my viewfinder, they look exactly the same. In person, I can tell the difference, but it's very slight. The copper is definitely more of a red-orange undertone, where the bronze is just a true bronze. It has more of that champagne-y gold undertone. I mean, they're both gorgeous, but they're very, very similar. So now this is the bronze pigment. And then I'm going to put it on top of the cream. Now this is the copper pigment. And then putting the copper on top of the cream. This is a very messy process. Keep having to wipe my hands clean. My fingers, I should say, because they're getting very sparkly. Okay, so the pigments look like they're the same color, even on my hand. They're not the same color. You can tell the copper has a smidge more red, but they are very, very similar. There's a lot more fallout with these pigments than the silver and gold, I noticed. I mean, they're both beautiful. As of right now, I'm liking the copper better than the bronze. So if you're torn between the two, I prefer definitely the copper. So this is the bronze pigment and mixing medium mixed together. Wow. Boom. Now the bronze and mixing medium. Or no, this is the copper, sorry. These are beautiful. These, I mean, they still look extremely similar. If you're in person, you can definitely tell more of a difference than in the viewfinder on camera. It just doesn't do it justice. The difference in them, it is very slight, but there is a difference. I mean, the mixing medium is freaking beautiful. I still like the pigments by themselves, but I think that's because the pigment by itself is when you see the most glitter in it and the most sparkle, and I'm someone who loves sparkle. Now that my hand is clean, we're gonna go in with the eyeliner. I'm going to start with the bold side. Now this is the side that is thicker, and then it comes to a precise thin point. So if you take it on its side with the, so like the angle is flat against your skin. Holy black, first of all. Wow, pigment. That's how big it is if it's on its flat, chunky side. And then if you take it the pointy side, I kind of like that you can mess with the marker tip because it's kind of like calligraphy. So you can kind of make those lines go from being really thick to thinning out. Now this is the precise side. Now this is super pointy. But again, I mean, you can thicken it up with the amount of pressure that you apply onto the skin. But again, holy black. I mean, the pigment of that first swatch, it shocked me. I'm a little shook from it because I was not expecting that. I'm going to be honest. I just wasn't. From a marker, I feel like markers are very hard to get that much pigment right away. And holy crap, that's a lot of pigment. Wow. Kind of impressed with this. But now we are going to jump into a little mini tutorial on the eyes using some of the pigments and creams, and I'm going to try to use the eyeliner as well. So let's get into that. I'm going to start off by taking a little bit of Warm Taupe by Anastasia Beverly Hills using a Morphe R38 brush. And I'm just going to buff this into my crease using it as my transition shade. Now I'm going to go in with a little ash brown, also by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm using a MAC 217 brush, and I'm just going to pop this a little bit lower into my crease as well as on my outer corner. Then going back in with that Morphe R38 brush, I'm just going to buff out the edges, then go back in with a little bit more of that ash brown and darken up the outer corner a little bit more, then go back and forth between the two brushes until I get the intensity that I want. Now going in with Hot Chocolate from Anastasia on a Morphe 330 brush. I'm going to pop this right into my crease to really darken everything up and also bring it out on the outer corner to give this a very sultry look. Then I'm also going to wing out the shadow with this color and then go back in with that first brush just to buff everything out. And then once again going in with the MAC 217 and applying a little bit of Hot Chocolate on the outer corner. Now I'm going in with the Copper Cream Shadow and I'm using a MAC 195 brush. I decided to switch to the copper because copper is not a color that I wear on a regular basis, so I just kind of wanted to try something new. And I'm going to be packing this all over the lid, kind of creating a little cut crease. Then I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to pick up the Copper Pressed Pigment and I'm going to press this right on top of the cream shadow. And I'm using packing motions. I want to avoid the most fallout and I want to get the best color payoff, so I'm going to be packing it on my lid. Then going back in with a little bit of that Hot Chocolate and I'm going to deepen up the crease just a little bit more. And then also apply a little bit on the outer corner. Then I'm going to take a little bit of it and drag it on my lower lash line just a little bit. Now I'm going to use the eyeliner pen that comes in the Everything kit. And I am using the Precise side to create a wing. Now I'm trying to create this wing and make it long and dramatic. Now I've never used this marker before, so it was a little difficult just to get the hang of it. Then I switched over to the bold side and I used the flat side of it to just tightline my lid and clean up my wing just a little bit. Now taking a pencil brush and a little bit of that Hot Chocolate and I'm going to be placing this on the outer half of my lower lash line. Then I am going in with the Copper Pigment again and I'm using a MAC 211 brush to apply this to the inner half of my lower lash line. Then I'm just picking up a little bit of the gold Pat McGrath highlighter, using that to highlight the inner corner and my brow bone, and then adding a little bit more highlighter on my cheeks. Then I went in with Jeffree Star's Leo liquid lipstick and now I am packing the Copper Pressed Pigment on top of it just to give it a little something extra.
Yeah, Mama.
It's Mama. So I just really quickly wanted to give you guys my final thoughts. My kid was done sitting still. He was over it. So he's going to join me for my outro. But my final thoughts are the whole package is not necessarily worth it. I do think that it is so worth it to go buy one color because I believe in the one color you get the mixing medium, the eyeliner, a cream, and a pigment of a specific color that you pick. Now, I personally, if I had to do that, I would probably buy copper and gold because they're both beautiful. I don't think that it makes much sense to buy the whole set because the copper and bronze are way too similar, and I don't know if I'd ever use silver. So I do think it's worth it, just not really worth it to buy the whole thing. And those are my final thoughts. I really hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Can you say bye? Say bye.
Bye, baby.
Bye, baby.